Some Republicans are rejecting it. Some Republicans are reluctantly going on with it.
The Americans wanted lower prices. They didn't want higher prices.
The economic consequences are going to be on the whole world.
Let's hop into a CNN panel following the official and shockingly dumb Trump tariff announcement that have already led to a massive market decline and consumer worry. So leave us a like on the video if you can. Helps us out a bunch. We really appreciate it. And let's hop right into the chaos.
Tariffs always raise rates. They cause inflation. They hurt competitiveness. They hurt innovation. And it's a false patriotism. Don't fall for it. And they should just watch that over and over and over again.
This seems pretty straightforward if you're a conservative. What also makes this, I think, somewhat absurd is they put out this formula here. I have it here. It's a chart like this that the president held up. And in the blue and white column, they basically had a made-up formula. Here's how Larry Summers describes it. It's now clear that Donald Trump's administration computed reciprocal tariffs without using tariff data. No tariff data at all. This is to economics what creationism is to biology, astrology is to astronomy, or RFK thought is to vaccine science. The Trump tariff policy makes little sense, even if you believe in protectionist, mercantilist economics.
And that's what's truly hilarious about all of this. Trump, through doing it, is just further showing his economic ignorance. The tariff numbers that he showed on the list held in front of the crowd was our trade deficit with that country divided by what they import from us, which isn't a tariff, first off. I don't know what he's thinking there, and it just makes sense that that would exist in poorer countries with little buying power, but that has exports we rely on, like Central American countries with bananas, for instance. We could never produce bananas here at this level, so tariffing them just because we have a trade deficit out of necessity and because that country is poor, that's insane. And we'll get more in depth on why this is crazy, but that's why in most cases these blanket tariffs are just going to increase prices and manufacturing in America won't even go up.
I wasn't trained to believe in tariffs. You know, those of us who grew up as traditional Republicans have always thought what Ronald Reagan thought. And so what Trump is doing here is implanting new economic theory DNA inside of the Republican Party. And what you're seeing is some Republicans are rejecting it. Some Republicans are reluctantly going on with it. Some Republicans are enthusiastically embracing it. I know people in the business community who are on both sides of it, frankly, back home in Kentucky and elsewhere. I'm also persuaded, frankly, by the Trump argument regarding the working class in this country and also by the fairness argument. So I will just say this. If it works, it'll be the ballsiest and gutsiest thing a president's done in decades. Let me finish.
No, please,
let me finish. And if it doesn't work, the political consequences fall on the shoulders of one man.
It's extra funny because he's undoing his own trade policy, where NAFTA, while reducing tariffs, still left a lot of them in place. Trump came in and replaced it with the USMCA, which further reduced tariffs. This was a good thing. This is one of the things from Trump's first term that I liked, but now apparently tariffs are the solution to everything. And the problem with it, mainly, I mean, there's a lot of problems. The main one is the reckless and lack of strategic nature in which he's using to implement these tariffs do have some niche benefit, right? If they're put in a sort of incentive, disincentive type of structure, you probably through like tax breaks, grants, whatever, you incentivize specific manufacturing to come to America. You invest in said sectors, then you tariff the country that exports the product to make it more expensive than the new manufacturing you've created is making the product for. We did this with the Chips and Science Act under Biden, for instance. Then you see that the benefits are there. You see that the benefits are worth any of the negatives because you're phasing those negatives out. Here it's just juvenile. There is no strategic in-plant or off-ramp. He's just doing it to say, well, you're doing it to us, so it's only fair. Like some elementary recess level explanation.
The Americans wanted lower prices. They didn't want higher prices. What's going to happen, and what economists are saying, is not only are people going to get laid off, but costs are going to go up. And that's not what the American people want. And they're going to see it in the midterm elections. And so I think that the Republican Party needs to be very careful about what they're doing. The other problem with all of this is the uncertainty. He's not saying how long these tariffs are going to go. He's not saying, is this a done deal for a while, or is it a short-term deal? And that's a problem.
Let me let Richard in.
You talked about the political consequences will be on the shoulders of one man, but the economic consequences are going to be on the whole world. This is an experiment that should not have been taking place. Because, and you talk about the Republicans who are not speaking up. So far, I mean, Mitch McConnell has come out with a statement. Where was he talking about this, by the way, during the campaign?
Bang on. Markets enjoy consistency, of which right now they're getting absolutely none, which is why they're declining. I'm just glad, and this is another argument for Social Security, because without it, those relying on their 401ks to retire right now, expecting to retire this year, would now have to wait years hoping that they bounce back from being wiped out. We don't care about political consequences. Everything isn't politics how MAGA tries to make it, right? What we care about are the real world economic consequences that real people, everyday Americans, are going to feel from these horrendous tariffs. By nature, tariffs are a regressive tax. Those who make the least feel the burden of tariffs the most. Economists are projecting that almost $3,000 in increased cost to consumers will come because of these tariffs. That won't affect Donald Trump, who $3,000 is not a lot of money to him, or Elon Musk, right? But for someone who only makes $30,000 a year, someone who only makes $35,000 a year, you're damn sure that's going to affect them. And these are the people's lives that he's fine to play with, so he can role play as strongman negotiator. And it's sickening, right? On top of him destroying the Constitution, eroding democracy, pulling back civil rights protections, ending funding for medical research, going after Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, and more, I think the orange man bad left has never been more vindicated than we are right now.